Hello, this is Dennis with A1 Telephone Service and Repair, A1 Electronics. You can reach us on the web at www.a1-telephone.com, and you can also reach us at 618-235-6959. Today I want to show you a wooden wall telephone. They have Kellogg on this telephone, so I'm going to kind of show you that. It has a Kellogg sticker on it. But yet this is a remake telephone, and it has an older style rotary dial in it with a metal finger wheel. And then we have our transmitter. But I want to show you something here, and I know the video can't pick it up. On the back of the transmitter says like 1889 or something like that. They didn't use Phillips head screws in those days, and the telephone was held together by a screw here, and they're drywall screws. So a couple of other things here is there's a Phillips here, Phillips. The crank looks to be original, but it's just maybe old stock. So I'm not sure how this telephone originated and exactly what year it's from, but basically what I want to do here is I want to take the cover off and I want to show you something. It's missing a bell. It has some issues, and we're going to have to talk to Dan. This is Dan's telephone from California, and basically what we're going to do is contact Dan and find out exactly what he wants to do. But as you see here, it's got an older style, very similar to an original style bell in an old wooden wall crank telephone, but it's held in by Phillips screws again. And then we have, on this older dial, we have Phillips screws again all over it. And so it is a remake, and I'm not sure, just because they use some old parts in it, you're just not sure when they made this, because it looks a lot more modern than the parts that are in it. It never did have a crank. So there was no magneto in here. And just because this is an old network board doesn't mean that the telephone is as old as this network here, because they didn't use networks in these old telephones either. So it's a remake. It's a pretty cool telephone, and it's all wood, so that's cool. And it has an old style rotary dial in it, so that's also cool. But as you can see, it's a remake. And they may have used older style parts. And in the older days, they would have used something similar to these bell adjustments, but they would have been much, they would have been thicker, and they would have been much more sturdy. And so that's the same thing with the hook switch here. The metal is not quite as sturdy as it would be if it was from the period that this telephone says it's from. So we know that it's not from that period. And according to some of the dates on the hardware here on the transmitter, we know that date doesn't coincide either. So it looks to be like they may have used some older parts and made a kind of a remake of the telephone. It's a pretty good job. It's all solid wood, and it's a cool telephone, and it's neat that it has a rotary dial in it with a metal finger wheel, so it's an older dial. But it's just not from the period that of the 1800s. And I want to show you here another thing. I'm going to set the video down real quick. I know that this handset, this receiver, is cracked down the side of it, and it has some issues with it. I think it could be cleaned up a little bit and probably repaired, but I want to show you the receiver capsule that's in it. And it says 1958. And that could have been replaced, but I know that this receiver is not of that age where it's any older than that, because of the fact that this is not the way they were constructed on the inside. They had a horseshoe weight and magnet in them, and this is a solid inside here. So this receiver is not of that period either. So it's a good remake. It's just not original. And I want to show you something else too when they put this telephone together. And I'm not sure that even back in the 50s or the 60s that they would have drove a drywall screw through the back panel into the side panel like that. You know, that the quality of their work was just much different than that. So this is what I would say a really good attempt of someone to try to reproduce a wooden wall Kellogg telephone or an old telephone of some sort. Whether this was made professionally by a company, I just don't know. This could have been somebody that was handy and just made a telephone, or there might have been a small company that was trying to kind of, you know, give a real good remake and put it out on the market. It's just hard to say. But this is the initial checkout of this telephone, and we know it is a remake. It's a pretty good remake. It's just not an original. And it's really cool that it has a rotary dial on it, though, and it's from the 50s probably, late 40s, 50s. And it's, you know, a dial like you would see in a 302. I don't know the number on it. I didn't really look, but, and this is the initial checkout. But it is of some quality. I mean, they did a pretty good job on the woodwork. And so I'm going to have to contact Dan and see what he wants to do with this telephone. And we'll kind of go from there. Probably put a newer style network in it, a newer style receiver inside the receiver that we have there, and probably a mic. We're going to need a spit cup. And then we are going to have to do something with the bells here. And I thought on this initial checkout, it looked like this bell, you know how sometimes brass will split, but I think that's just a mark. We'd probably just have to come up with another bell and kind of go from there. But, you know, on this initial checkout, that's what we're finding. And this telephone is... you know, when finished off, it's going to be a very cool item. But at this point, it is not in an original wooden wall telephone. So we'll contact Dan about that, and we'll go from there and find out exactly what he would like to do. This is Dennis with A1 Telephone Service and Repair, A1 Electronics. You can reach us on the web at www.a1-telephone.com, and you can also reach us at 618-235-6959. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.